you meet Nick Salerno? I mean, how did that end up going with you?
Well, I met Nick when I left Debonair Records, and he approached me and basically offered to take me on because I guess in his mind, since he gave me the whole, since he can't get along with Debonair, I will be the one. You come over to me, and I will create a label, and we'll release your music through my label. And I spoke to my DJ at the time, and we agreed that might be a good idea. Because apparently we didn't give ourselves that much credit. And look, in hindsight now, the reason the record was probably on the radio as much as it was, obviously, was because of some of the contacts I had established. DJ Laz, most of the guys on Power that I had met, Mohammed Moretta, Felix Sama, all these guys. And I think Felix Sama was, to be fair, I'm not trying to take all the credit. I just think that at least 50% or 75% of the reason why the record was known was because of my legwork prior to the record coming out and the relationships that I had established. So I lost my train of thought.
So when you were working with Nick, you basically used the same people that you knew?
Nick Salerno came on board, and basically my dad gave me $1,000, which I took that and went to Tolga's studio and made a song called Party Time, which was nowhere near as popular as Shake the Joint was. And there was a lot of back and forth. Tolga had someone produce the song. It was just done in a way where we weren't used to. We were used to going to the studio and going to town, creating our own thing, our own ideas. We have an engineer. He's walking us through the process of MIDI and sequencing and the insertion of cuts and then I would get on the mic and I already had everything written out and we would just work in that way. This was a totally different situation. This was something we put money into, and then it was just turned into like this. We weren't really in control, so to speak. We had to fight for control, and then eventually when it was this like tug of war, we got Party Time, and it was like it was a result of this tug of war that had occurred between us and that, nothing against. I mean, I love Tolga and I love everybody. It was just a very bizarre situation. He actually told me that he had a lot of respect for me because I stuck to my guns. Unfortunately, we stuck to our guns, but the song, I don't know what the song did. I don't even think it really worked. I mean, DJ Laz wouldn't play it, and it was a follow-up to Shake the Joint, so we were like, wow, we were like dead in the water, man. Other DJs played it, and there was some sort of response to it. I liked it. It worked out at the end of the day. But the major key players that I brought on board to spin my music weren't really spinning it, so it wasn't a good follow-up.
So what was it? You put that one away, and what was the next follow-up?
The next follow-up was No Money, No Girlfriend.
With who?
With Nick still.
Okay.
Nick was on board. Nick came on board. He set everything up. He was trying to set up a situation where the gigs that I was doing, I would have to reinvest into the pressing of the records so that we can.
So you were basically the executive producer.
But nobody was telling me that.
Okay, you didn't know that.
I just wanted to do the records, and it's like apparently when we got to the point where, hey, we're gonna do it this way, you're gonna do the shows, we're gonna put money into this thing. I mean, I guess Nick brought in an investor as well. It wasn't enough money, I guess, to really make it work. But we did a couple of shows, and the money that came from that went into pressing into recording and pressing No Money, No Girlfriend, which came after Party Time, which was probably was what we wanted. That was the should have been the follow up to Shake the Joint, because it sounded like more like it. It was recorded at Hideaway, and that would have been perfect. But that didn't come till later. So I also did another track with Nick. A couple of records with Nick that not sure where the funding came for it or what happened with it, but it was what it was. We were doing what we were doing. I was creating music. That's all I really cared about. I didn't care about all that other political stuff.
How about this political stuff? You as a rapper going to perform and they didn't know what your face looked like. How did the crowd react towards that?
I guess I got some funny looks, you know. Nothing I couldn't handle, you know. I mean, being Puerto Rican from Chicago, and I just thought, you know, if you don't like me, you'll get used to me.